A warm welcome to all the viewers for the course Advanced Manufacturing Technology, AME 702. And today, myself Thiapal, Assistant Professor of Department of Mechanical Engineering, and I'm going to give a brief lecture on electrochemical machining process. So this is also one of the non-traditional machining process where you are using the electrochemical process. I mean to say some electrochemical reaction is occurring. Well, in the part 1 lecture of electrochemical machining, we have already discussed about the various process or how it is working, the electrochemical machining process. What is the function of the electrolyte? What is the function of the tool and the workpiece that you are performing it in during the operation? Next, if the tool gapping is more between the workpiece and the tool, then what is happening? So we have already discussed the various things. So today in this lecture, what we are going to discuss about? We are going to discuss about the various equipment that are associated with electrochemical machining process. Next, we'll be discussing about the various advantages, disadvantages of this process. Next, we'll be also discussing about the potential difference, what is the effect of this thing in this particular mechanism. So without further delay, let's move to the next slide. So now in this particular presentation or in this particular slide, you can see the total potential drop in electrochemical machining cell. So as I've already told you that electrochemical, or you can say the electrochemistry of ECM process basically follow two laws that is proposed by your Faraday. The first thing, it was told that the amount of chemical change produced by an electric current, that is the amount of any material deposited or dissolved, is proportional to the quantity of electricity passed. So what Faraday's two law state that the first one proposed by Faraday was amount of chemical change produced by an electric current, that is the amount of any material dissolved or deposited, is proportional to the quantity of electricity passed. And the next proposed was the amount of different substances dissolved or deposited by the same quantity or electricity are proportional to their chemical equivalent weight. So in quantitative form, Faraday two law states that M is proportional to IT eta. I have already discussed about this one in my previous lecture. Now, if I just talk about this particular thing, that is the electrode potential for A and electrolyte B when it is there. When a metallic body is basically submerged in an electrolyte, the metallic atoms leave the body and it becomes iron. And these particular ions move to the body and become atoms. The process goes on continuously and the equilibrium is also maintained. A potential difference exists between a point on the surface of the metallic body, that is your electrode, and the adjacent point in the electrolyte. So the potential difference is known as the electrode potential. If I say it once more time, that is a potential difference basically exists between a point on the surface of the metallic body, that is the electrode, and an adjacent point in the electrolyte, and this potential difference is known as electrode potential. It is known as electrode potential. Okay. Now the electrode potential basically varies depending on the electrode and electrolyte combinations. If two different electrodes, that is A and B, are immersed, then a potential difference between this electrode will exist, since the potential of A and B with respect to the common electrolyte are different. This potential difference is the electromotive force, which is commonly known as EMF of the cell, and it is generated by the electrode and the electrolyte. Okay, now if I just talk about the basic thing, that is, if the water of the two electrons from the electrode, as a result the hydrogen gas is evolved and hydroxyl ion are also produced. Now you can see a figure here. Now what is this figure basically states us? Basically the relationship between the voltage applied across the electrode and the flow of current is not very simple. So the total potential profile, it has been shown in this particular figure. And the total potential profile basically consists of the following. Number one, it is electrode potential that I have already told you. And number two, that is over voltage. So you can see these are the two things. One is your electrode, another is your over voltage. So why we are talking about over voltage? It is due to activation polarization and the electrochemical changes at an electrode are in equilibrium when no current flow is there, and the electrode potential act as a barrier to a faster rate of reactions. So an additional energy has to be supplied to get the required MRR. So if you have a look here, what it is shown here, this is the anodic over voltage and it is the cathodic over potential. And the most important thing is that you have got a potential, anode potential, then you have got activation polarization over voltage. This is activation polarization over voltage. Next is ohmic potential, or it can be also known as ohmic over voltage. And last it is concentration potential, or you can say concentration polarization over voltage. This is concentration polarization over voltage. Okay. Now if you look at this cathodic over potential, so what you can see is that this is concentration potential. This is concentration potential. It is also known as concentration polarization over voltage. Next it has been told ohmic drop. It has been told ohmic drop, or you can say ohmic over voltage. Next it has been told activation over potential, or you can term it as activation polarization over voltage. And last it has been told as cathodic potential. This is your cathodic potential. Okay, now let's have a look what basically it is meaning it. So over voltage is due to activation polarization, I have already stated, and the electrochemical changes at an electrode are in equilibrium when no current flows. And the electrode potential act as a barrier to a faster rate of reaction. So an additional energy has to be supplied to get the required MRR. Now third thing what we are discussing about, that is concentration polarization. We are discussing about concentration polarization. Basically what it is. Basically concentration polarization, it basically the ion migrates towards the electrode of opposite polarities. Again I am saying the ion migrates towards the electrode of opposite polarities, and thus it causing a concentration of ion near the electrode surface. Now each ion must pass through this concentration barrier to release its charge at electrode surface. Again I am repeating, each ion must pass through this concentration barrier to release its charge at the electrode surface. So an extra voltage is also required for migration of ion. Extra voltage is also required for migration of ion through the concentration layer. Next we are talking about ohmic overvoltage. Okay, ohmic drop, or you can say ohmic overvoltage. The film of solid material forming on the electrode surface offer an extra resistance to the passage of current. In case of ohmic voltage, the film of solid material forming on the electrode surface offer an extra resistance to the passage of current. And next we are talking about ohmic resistance of electrolyte. There the ohmic voltage drop across the bulk of the electrolyte. And what you get is that the main voltage drop and is the only part of the circuit within the electrolyte which obeys ohmic law. Now if you talk about the total overvoltage, if I talk about the total overvoltage, this is the total overvoltage as you can see. From here till here, this is the total overvoltage. Okay. So this is the total overvoltage, and this total overvoltage that you are getting here, it is represented by V minus del V. So if the total overvoltage at the anode and cathode is considered to be del V, and the applied voltage as V and the current as I, then we can represent I is equal to V minus del V by R. Okay, I can be represented as V minus del V by R. Again I am repeating, if the total overvoltage at the anode and the cathode is represented by del V, and if the applied voltage as V and the current as I, then by giving the following equation, I is equal to, we can write here, I is equal to, in bracket capital V minus del V. So how you're going to write? Del V by R. Okay, so this is the formula. R is the ohmic resistance. What is this R? R is equal to ohmic resistance. R is the ohmic resistance of the electrolyte. Now the conductivities of the tool and the workpiece are very much larger than the conductivity of the electrolyte. And the typical electrolyte conductivity is about 0.1 to 1.0 ohmic minus 1 centimeter minus 1, where that of iron is 10 to the power 5 ohmic minus 1 centimeter minus 1. Thus, the surface of the tool and the workpiece may be considered as equipotential. The conductivity of the electrolyte is not really constant because of the temperature vibration, or you can say temperature variation and accumulation of bubbles. However, if we go for simple calculation, it may be treated as constant. So from there, you are able to know the total potential drop in this particular ECM cell. Now we are talking about the various equipments that are associated with the electrochemical machining process. Okay, so first is your power supply, second is your electrolyte filtration and delivery system, next we are talking about the tool feed system, next we are talking about working tank. So these are all the electrochemical machining system that has been played a very important role for this particular machining process. Okay, so now let's have a brief discussion with the next one. So just have a look in this particular figure. So we have already discussed this is the tool. Electrolyte is flowing through this particular gap. This is your workpiece. Workpiece is connected to the positive terminal. Tool is connected towards the negative terminal. So this is the supply, that is low voltage, high current power supply. Voltage should be low, current should be high, power supply. And you know, already I have told you that constant feed to the tool has been provided. Now how this electrolyte is passing? Let's have a look. You can see in this particular portion, there is the particular chamber, there is a pump, you are allowing it to flow. Just you can see this is getting flow. There is a pressure relief valve, you are controlling the flow through this flow control valve. There is a flow meter and pressure gauge is there, and the electrolyte is getting injected inside the tool. Now after that, this electrolyte is getting again passed to this particular container. So there is a spent electrolyte centrifugal, it is getting collected here. So whatever the sludges are there, it is getting deposited here in this particular chamber. So this is a very simple diagram of electrochemical machining cell you can see here, isn't it? You can see, again I am repeating, this is a particular chamber where electrolyte is there, and through there you are using it with the help of pump. There is a motor and it is getting supplied. Pressure relief valve is associated. Flow control valve is controlling the flow. Flow meter is also associated here. Pressure gauge is also there for measuring the pressure. And then the electrolyte is passing through the gap between the tool. And here is the workpiece which has been kept here. and the entire machining process occurs. Now the electrolyte again flows to this particular chamber, and there is a spent electrolyte centrifugal, and you can see if the sludges are there, it has been removed, and this through here you are passing it again, this particular electrolyte. It is getting filtered here, and again it is passed to the reservoir. So in this way the entire process is occurring. Hope you have understood this particular process with the help of this schematic diagram. So now in the next slide we are going to discuss about the various parts of this particular setup. So initially we will be starting with the power supply. What should be the amount of applied current? So applied current should be between 50 to 40,000 ampere. What should be the applied voltage? It must vary between 5 to 30 volt, and that should be DC one, direct current. Now what should be the current density of this process? Generally it varies between 20 to 300 ampere per centimeter square. So these are the basic requirement for the power supply. Now we are talking about the machine. So machine is a major subsystem of your ECM process. It basically includes the table, frame, work enclosure that prevents the electrolyte from spilling, and the workhead. Here the tool is mounted. And last but not the least, that is the tool, that is the electrode, which is a very important part of the machining system. Because without the tool you are not able to perform the machining. Okay. Now we will be going for electrolyte circulating system. You have to circulate the electrolyte now. Otherwise how you can eject over the workpiece with the help of the tool. So you can have the electrolyte circulating system. So first the entering pressure must be between 0.15 to 3 megapascal. Next is the electrolyte system must include a strong pump, so that it can pump the electrolyte and it can be flow inside the tool electrode. Now the electrolyte, it should be stored in a tank, obviously, others from where you are going to put it. Next is the system also include a filter, that is the sludge, where all the wastage material getting deposited, and filtration is also required so that clear electrolyte can be recirculated to carry out the particular process. Removal system is also there, and treatment unit is also provided. Last but not the least, that is the control system. So what are the control parameters? First, it is the voltage. You can control the voltage as you can vary between 5 to 30 volt. It should be a direct current one. Next, inlet and outlet pressure of the electrolyte. So when you are injecting it inside the tool, then you have to maintain the inlet pressure. And when you are removing the electrolyte from the mechanism tank towards the sludges one, to remove the sludge and to filter it, and again to recirculate it over the tank of the electrolyte so that it can be reused. So inlet and outlet pressure has to be maintained. Next is the temperature of the electrolyte. It has to be also controlled. Now current is dependent on the above parameters and the feed rate. So two parameters, that is the current and feed rate, is basically depend on the above these three parameters. Next we are talking about the electrolyte. The main mechanism that is occurring in the presence of the electrolyte. So what are the basic requirements of electrolyte? We are having a brief discussion here. First, it is essential for electrolytic process. Second, it cools the cutting zone, which become hot due to the flow of high current. Third, neutral salt are used as electrolyte in place of highly corrosive acid and alkalis. So we basically prefer the neutral salt rather than the corrosive acid or alkali. And last, that is electrolyte solution is pumped between the tool and the work cap, about 2.5 Newton per millimeter square and 30 meter per second. So this should be maintained. Next we are talking about the tool. What is the requirement of a tool for ECM process? So first requirement is it should be a good thermal conductivity. Second is strong enough to withstand the high pressure. Because when you are passing the liquid, there is a pressure. So it should have strong enough to withstand the high pressure. And last, it should be easily machined. What are the materials for tool you prefer for ECM? It can be of copper, it can be of brass, it can be of stainless steel. So these are the three materials that are preferred for preparing the tool, or you can say these are the preferable tool materials. Other insulation material also you can use, that is like vinyl Teflon, epoxy, which enables high temperature varnish. Again I am telling outer insulating of material, that is a vinyl, Teflon, epoxy. These are the various material or insulating material that enables high temperature varnish. Now we are talking about the tool material. Since the tool has no constant with the workpiece, there is no tool wear. So you can see the tool and the workpiece, they are not coming in contact with each other. So when there is no contact, then there is no wear out. So any material that is good conductor of electricity can be selected as your tool material. As I've already told, most commonly tool material used are copper, brass and titanium, copper, tungsten and stainless steel. When the electrolyte is made up of sodium or potassium. If sodium and potassium are associated to prepare the electrolyte, then the material that are preferred are copper, brass, titanium, copper, tungsten and stainless steel. So you can see the properties of copper, brass, stainless steel and copper, tungsten. If I talk about electric resistivity, then you can see stainless steel is having high electric resistivity. Then comes copper, tungsten, then come brass, then come copper. If I talk about the stiffness, then highest is obtained in copper, tungsten, then it is obtained in stainless steel, then it is obtained in copper, and last it is obtained in brass. If I talk about machinability, the best is brass, next come copper, next comes stainless steel, and last come copper, tungsten. And if I talk about thermal conductivity, then the highest that is obtained in copper, then it comes for brass, then it comes for copper, tungsten, then it comes for stainless steel. Now we are talking about the electrolyte. So low electrolyte temperature results in low MRR, and high temperature leads to vaporization of electrolyte. So it should be maintained a temperature. It should be near about 35 degrees Celsius to 65 degrees Celsius. You cannot use anything. Okay. So what I was talking is that low electrolytic temperature result in low MRR. So this is very important. Low electrolyte, low MRR. High temperature leads to vaporization. Then what should be the temperature variation? It should vary between 35 degrees Celsius to 65 degrees Celsius. And you can see the material we are talking and the electrolyte what they are preferring. If it is material is iron based alloy, you should prefer 20% of NaCl solution in water. If it is nickel based iron alloy, then you should prefer mixture of brine and H2SO4. And if it is titanium based alloy, then you should prefer 10% of HF and 10% of ACl and 10% of HNO3. If it is COCr based alloy, then you should prefer NaCl. And if it is tungsten based alloy, then you should go for strong alkaline solution. Now we will be having a look for the process parameter. So what are the process parameter we are discussing right now? We have already told about the power supply. So when we are talking about power supply, then what type of parameters and what should be the thing is preferred. So if you go for power supply, then it should always be direct current, that is the DC. The voltage should vary between 2 to 35 volt. Current should vary between 50 to 40,000 ampere. And the current density should vary between 0.1 ampere per millimeter square to 5 ampere per millimeter square. Next, we are talking about the electrolyte. If I talk about the electrolyte, the material that is preferred is NaCl and NO3. If I talk about the temperature, it should be between 20 degree to 50 degrees Celsius. If I talk about flow rate, then 20 IPM per 100 ampere current. If I talk about the pressure, it should be between 0.5 to 20 bar. If I talk about a dilution, then 100 gram per liter to 500 gram per liter. Now what should be the minimum workpiece gap it should be maintained? It should be between 0.1 millimeter to 2 millimeter. What should be the overcut? It should vary between 0.2 millimeter to 3 millimeter. What should be the feed rate? It should vary between 0.5 millimeter per minute to 15 millimeter per minute. What should be the electrode material? It should be copper, it should be brass, it should be bronze. What should be the surface roughness? It should vary between 0.2 to 1.5 micrometer. So you can see that what are the process parameters that have been involved in electrochemical machining process. It is power supply, it is electrolyte, it is the working gap, it should be overcut, it is feed rate, electrode material, surface roughness. So these are all process parameters. Surface roughness is always your output parameter. Overcut is also there for output parameter, but what are the input parameters that you can control within yourself? It is the power supply, it is the electrolyte, it is the working gap, it is the feed rate, and of course the selection of electrode material. So by varying the input parameter, you will be able to get the responses or your output parameter. So now let's move to the next slide. So in the next slide, it's all about the material removal rate. We all are performing some operation. For what? To get the material removal rate. So this is the important parameter, output parameter. So what is the formula? MRR is equal to I into A by F into Z. What is this F? This is Faraday constant and its value is 96500 coulombs, or you can compare to as 26.8 ampere hour. Now this is Z, that is valencies of metal dissolved. I, it is a very known parameter, that is the current flowing in ampere, and last is A, that is the atomic weight of material in grams, and MRR we are getting in grams per second. So for material removal, it is always calculated in the terms of gram per second. Now we will be discussing about the accuracy of ECM. How much accurate is this process is preferred? There are a number of factors which governs the accuracy of the parts that are produced by ECM. What are the major ones? First, it is machining voltage. Second is your feed rate of electrode, that is the tool. Third is the temperature of electrolyte. And fourth is the concentration of electrolyte. So under ideal condition, with properly designed tool, it is implemented. And the most important thing is that ECM is capable of holding of a tolerance of plus minus 0.02 millimeter. The surface finish that is obtained in ECM is of order 0.2 to 0.8 microns. No burrs or sharp edge are left in the workpiece. So this is one of the advantages, that is no bars and sharp edges are formed or left in the workpiece. But the surface finish that is obtained is 0.2 to 0.8 micron. The tolerance is already measured between plus minus 0.02, and these are the major one that holds or governs the accuracy of the product that is produced by ECM, electrochemical machining. Now let's have a look for the advantages of ECM. So first advantages is no mechanical force is required. Second is there is no cutting force, therefore clumping is not required. Expect from controlled motion of the workpiece. There is no heat affected zone. It is very accurate. Relatively it is fast process. It can machine hard material than the tool also, because the tool is not having any contact with your workpiece. So you can machine hard material than the tool also. No material corrosion occur. It provides a smooth surfaces, and more sensitive and repeatable things can be performed with this particular process. Now let's have a look for the disadvantages. Basically the solution uses is the solution that you're getting. It uses some pump, tank, pipe, filter and all those things. So it is more expensive than any conventional machining, because as you increase the equipment, the cost estimation of the machine is also getting increased. You need more area for installation of this particular machine setup for you performing the machine. Most important thing is that the electrolyte may destroy the equipment also. Next, it is not environmental friendly, as it includes sludges as well as other waste. Next is the effect of the toxic gas and aerosols product in the course of ECM is not proper. The risk of electric shock is there. There is a danger of burn in case of short circuit, as the entire process is totally based on the electricity supply. So there is a risk of electric shock. There is a risk of burn in case of short circuit between the positive and the negative lead. Some mechanical factors are also not included that much way, and material has to be electrically conductivity. So this is one of the disadvantages, because if the material is not conducting electricity, a conductivity of electric, then it will be not machined through this particular process. So this has to be kept in the mind while performing or selecting this process for producing any product. Now let's have a look for the application of ECM. Now the most common application of ECM is high accuracy duplication, because there is no tool wear. It can be used repeatedly with a high degree of accuracy. Also, it is used to produce cavities and hold in various products. Next, it is commonly used in thin-walled, easily deformable and brittle material, because they would be probably develop crack with the conventional machining process. So you can see what are the applications of ECM in this particular area. Next is application are valid for high sensitivity work like electronics, air and space industry. These are the sensitivity working area where you can implement electrochemical machining process for performing this particular operation. It is also contain many benefits that in industry like telecommunication, automotive and defense industry also. So you can see it's very important in these two particular area about the application of the electrochemical machining process with respect to industry. Now further specialized application. If you want to do some specialized application, you can go with this ECM process. So what are the further specialized application? It is die sinking, profiling and contouring, trepanning, grinding, drilling, micromachining, pulsed ECM. So you can see these are the further specialized application that can be implemented with the help of electrochemical machining process. Now you see there are different pictorial view of the application of electrochemical machining process. This is the die sinking we were discussing. You can see this is the workpiece, this is the tool, the shape of the tool have been immersed over the workpiece. This is the 3D profile, you can see, so beautifully it has been done. And drilling operation, you can see this is the tool, you can see there is an electrolyte, it is getting flow. This is the workpiece and the electrolyte is getting flash out after performing the operation. This is the drilling and trepanning by ECM. So this is the tool, this is one container, this is the another one, means this is the workpiece. So you can see again the tool is this type of shape, electrolyte is getting flow here, it is getting flow through there, again it is getting flow through here. You can see it is gaining the shape of the tool, it is gaining the shape of the tool that has been done here, as you can see, and the operation is carried out. Now if I have a look for the economic, then what you can see is that the process is economical when a large number of complex identical products need to be made, at least 50 units. So it is obviously an economical one, because 50 units you can perform complex identical product in a large number. Several tools could be connected to cassette to make many cavities simultaneously. That is cylindrical cavities in engine you can make through this particular process. Large cavities are more economical in ECM if you compare it with EDM. Because it is 1 by 10 times of EDM, it can be economical for generating large cavities for economical on ECM. Now we are having a look for the products. The two most common products of ECM are, one is turbine, another is compressor blade, and refill barrels. Each of these parts require machining of extremely hard material with a certain mechanical specification. Some of these mechanical characteristics are also achieved by ECM, that is stress-free grooves. You can also go for any conductive metal that can be machined. Its repeatability accuracy is 0.0005 inch. It has got a very high surface finish. And of course, it is a fast cycle time. So already you have got an overview of the ECM process. You have got the potential difference that is occurring in the ECM cell. We have discussed the various products related to your economical portion, applications, advantages, disadvantages. We have also gone through all the equipment that are associated with electrochemical machining process. So last but not the least, the most interesting thing, let's have a quiz round. So the first question, it tells that for ECM of steel, which is used as the electrolyte? Is it kerosene, sodium chloride, deionized water, HNO3? The correct answer is B, that is NaCl. So what is the correct answer for this particular quiz? The correct answer is here B, that is NaCl. Now let's have a look for the second one. MRR in ECM depends on, number A, hardness of work material, number B, atomic weight of work material, number C, thermal conductivity of work material, number D, ductility of work material. The correct answer is option B, that is atomic weight of the workpiece material. So this is the correct answer. Now ECM cannot be undertaken for Number third question, ECM cannot be undertaken for steel, nickel-based superalloy, aluminum oxide, titanium alloy. The correct answer is aluminum oxide, Al2O3. Number 4. Commercial ECM is carried out at a combination of low voltage, high current, low current, low voltage, high current, high voltage, or low current, low voltage. The correct option is option A, low voltage, high current. So guys, you can see how interesting the quiz round is. If you are having a good lecture through the entire content and if you view it, then it is very easy for you people to get the answer, because this is what we basically want. So for the last question, the correct answer is option A. So thank you everyone for listening the video for such a long time, and in this particular lecture I have already covered up the potential difference in the ECM cell. We have discussed about all the equipments that are associated with your electrochemical machining. We have discussed about the process parameter, what should be the variation in the range about the process parameter to get the desired output, how the MRR is removed, the mechanical deduction for MRR, as well as we have discussed the various applications in the economical field, in industrial field, or general application of ECM, along with the advantages and disadvantages of this process, and it has been followed by a quiz round. So for this particular session, we are completing the electrochemical machining process here in this lecture. So if you have liked the video, then please like, comment and share the video, and always stay connected with us so that we can go for the next lecture where we'll be discussing about the laser beam machining. Again, there is plasma arc machining. So these all topics will be covered up in this particular upcoming videos. So thank you once again for listening the video. So please stay connected with my channel and please follow the lecture. Thank you. Thank you very much.